COVID. Fucking COVID.
Fuck COVID.
Just shove on their cards.
4, 3, 2, 1. The goal of the What the Shuck podcast is to provide a platform to people with positive or influential ideas that have either helped me to change my life or that can help you to change your life. Throughout this podcast, I will be providing a spotlight to people of all professions, arts, skills, and anyone from Appalachia with a story or lesson that you heard. My next guests are a duo of brothers from Morehead, Kentucky, and Morehead State alumni that went from their mom's kitchen table as a shirt company startup to being on the stage with former governors of Kentucky winning awards for international trade and products sported from east to west coast, Appalachian Mountains to Rocky Mountains, products being supported on stages in Nashville and the silver screen in Hollywood. Though their reach is big, their focus is direct and their intention is specifically honed to get an awesome Appalachia. So, you guys are kind of trying to show a little bit about what everybody's missing out on, and while you are trying to help, there is no mountain, stream, and everything in between that your all's apparel hasn't touched. So, the next team that I have on right now is the Appalachian Dream, Jared and Josh Ravenscraft. What's going on, fellas?
Hey, great intro, man.
Thanks for having us.
Really warm welcome.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Thank you all for coming on. We're coming to you all from Saltstone Brewing Company. I'm drinking the not the Hefeweizen, but the Berliner Vase. I don't know what y'all are drinking, but
I got a number 1. It's Kentucky Common. If you get a chance to come down to Saltstone, drink local, great brewery here in Morehead. These guys do it right. Josh, what do you got?
I got a cream ale.
Is that apple juice?
Yeah.
it's kind of apple juice. I just want to thank you all so much for coming on. As I've mentioned so many times before, the really important focus that I really like to show is people that are willing to kind of go out on a limb and make something happen. And you are a direct example of that. You all put countless hours. You've been through so much adversity with just trademark issues and things along those lines. And the fact that you all are here today just shows that you all were really committed to what you all were trying to do. So I just really appreciate you all coming on, and the mission that you all are all about is something that I can really get behind. And we've talked about it many times before, or a few times we've talked, but we've talked about how important it is to connect to this community and for us to all kind of work together. But to get us started real quick, I just wanted to ask you all what your favorite snack is growing up. So maybe your top 3 or just your number 1 that just comes to mind.
I'm gonna go with some Appalachia snacks. Number 1, probably Grippo's chips.
Okay.
Number 2, Josh, what do you think?
Saying eggs.
Eggs.
Eggs?
Yeah, Josh is pretty plain.
Farm-raised eggs.
Farm-raised eggs.
And you can't be garden vegetables like green beans, things like that from your grandma's garden.
Fruits and veggies.
That's high up there on my list.
So anytime that I go to a restaurant and they're like, there's this particular ingredient that a lot of people don't know about, and I love them. It's called a pawpaw. Have you ever heard of pawpaw?
I have not.
So it is a fruit that is from Appalachia, and it's got like literally like a month-long season. And it's like, it tastes kind of like a mango, but it is the consistency of like a banana, so it's like really mushy. Yeah, so it's kind of like
Where do you find it?
well, it's like you probably have them in like Round County, Bath County,
Not that one.
anywhere on, but it's literally like a really short season because we're in a way like a temperate rainforest in this region.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of rain and then we also get warm weather, so it's kind of almost tastes like tropical.
Yeah.
And
Kentucky, not to get off the subject, but Kentucky in the summer, man, it feels like a tropical environment. It's so humid and hot. I feel like I'm in like Vietnam or something like
2018
that.
was the wettest year Kentucky had in history.
Yeah,
If that
humid, hot rain. But not to get off topic. Go ahead.
But yeah, I totally understand, like, and that's so important to what's important to us as like allowing us to have the commerce that we have. We got bourbon because of that. We got the most streams / lakes of like any state in the continental United States, if I'm not mistaken, something like that.
Lumber industry, garden, agriculture, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so rain's definitely important. But the pawpaw is like it's really good. But anytime I go somewhere, they're like, we got pawpaw ice cream.
You gotta check it out.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Heck yeah.
But to just continue a little bit, so thank you all once again for coming on, but just literally, it's so important that we connect because there's such a stigma against us that from Appalachia that we're not supposed to be successful and we're just country bumpkins. And we've talked about it, and there's a potential opportunity for us as a area in Moorhead to kind of blow up. So there's stuff going on with you all as a apparel and clothing company, with Saltstone as a brewing company, and then App Harvest. So if you all kind of want to touch on that a little bit of potential that we could potentially have, and just what it means to grow and what technology has provided an area that is often overlooked.
Yeah, just to go back to your first statement, it's an area that's overlooked regionally. If you're on the West Coast or New York, you don't think of East Kentucky, you don't think of Appalachia. People don't know about it. There's a stigma, but that's obviously not true. A small town doesn't mean small mind. And I think there's a lot of good stuff going on here in Appalachia, especially in East Kentucky. And everybody loves an underdog story, just like the NCAA tournament, everybody loves underdog teams. And I think that's what our region is, in a sense, like an underdog. No one thinks of us, but I think there's a lot of potential here. And not just what we're doing, but like where we're at today, Saltstone Brewery. And then App Harvest, obviously what they're doing, they're like an ag tech giant coming into this region, and the supporting local businesses. They shop everything they use is mostly coming from local businesses. They've used us to make their workwear, which is awesome. They can go out of state to do that easily, but they're choosing a local Appalachian business. And that a lot of potential for this area, not to just say it because it requires action. I think for years there have been people talking about it, but now I think you've got people doing things and sweating and putting their nose to the grindstone and doing things, and I think that's what it takes to make change. Josh,
people are getting tired of the big cities being cooped up, especially with the COVID. Everybody's stacked in like sardines in their apartments, working out of their office, and now more than ever, they're like, outside investment. These people are running back to these big open areas of land where life is simple, kind of like it is here in Appalachia. And it's cool to be simple again and come back and build where there's opportunities in Appalachia. So.
It kind of a happenstance, just like the name of our brand, New Frontier. We really believe every day Appalachia, East Kentucky is a new frontier. You think back in the days of the pioneers and the Scottish settlers in the mountains of North Carolina, Western North Carolina, East Tennessee, East Kentucky. That's where they settled, and they all went west. I think that it's a reverse trend now. It's like our region has been forgotten about, and we've had our hardships, but pressure makes diamonds, and we've been under pressure, and I think that there's some diamonds in our area coming out. Not just saying it, but I know there are people doing things that we've seen, and it gets you excited. They're big ideas, just like App Harvest. It's kind of scary, but it's happening right now. Facility's almost done. I know we're working on some things behind the scenes that are big picture, just like the guys here. We're at Saltstone. People are doing things.
Yeah, and it's really intoxicating and contagious because when people see that. Yeah, with me, my goal with my podcast, and to kind of touch on how I think that it's been able to happen, is technology.
Yeah,
we were really, really, really lost when there was a lack of information that we could be provided, and now we actually have that. And because of that affordability of the access to technology that we have now, it's kind of leveled the playing field a little bit.
Oh yeah, just like you and your podcast.
We're having a remote podcast in the middle of a brewery right now.
Yeah, a few years ago, back when we were in high school, this wouldn't have happened.
Not possible.
Technology's allowed that. Modifications of Wi-Fi and service, and laptops, GoPros, mics, stuff you're doing your day with us. It's like years ago it wouldn't happen. It's people on Facebook, wherever they're listening to this at. So many streams available, and it's awesome. And in our region, years ago, no one had a podcast in East Kentucky, or really, you had radio shows and things like that, but it's cool, it's new, and I like it.
So, to kind of keep on the subject of technology in Appalachia, How has that afforded you all the opportunity to really expand your all's brand? Because I know that you all actually have people with a pretty big following in Sweden, or was it Netherlands?
Netherlands.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shipped to Sweden too.
Yeah, I think it's the retro mountain style that we go for.
Because it's kind of similar there, you know?
Yeah, those countries have mountains and they have skiing and things like that, outdoor activities, and we offer a taste that they don't have there. You know, just like the music of Chris Stapleton or Tyler Childers, there's not many guys in the Netherlands or Switzerland making that kind of music, that sound. Mm-hmm. We like to think in the same sense as a brand. We bring that kind of gritty mountain vibe to our designs and the way we speak as a brand. So I think they like that, and it's different, and I think it's awesome. Nothing gets us more excited than like shipping ore overseas. You know, it's really cool. You know, for some small town dogs to be making some moves overseas.
You have anything you want to say about it?
I was just
Yeah,
thinking
you
about.
ship the orders. You
Well,
elaborate.
Jerry's talking about international shipping. I'm sitting there looking at each order coming in. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. This is like, when you think about going over the ocean, it's like, wow, it's coming from Miami and Appalachia. I think people resonate with just like Chris Stapleton's songs, or somebody like Tyler Childers. They will listen to their songs across the world, but people can resonate with local stuff in Broadway. So you don't just have to stay local, but people resonate with local. They find in their own way. Mm-hmm. They find similarities, so that's cool.
They're like, what? A thing that I hear a lot recently with everything going on is that we're often criticized for not having a culture as a white person. Not to bring up race, but I think that we are very fortunate where we are from to have a very rich culture. And we have bluegrass, and we have storytelling, and we have outdoors, and we have all these things that we are really, really blessed that we're a very culturally rich area. And I think that that's what it is people just really are, people want to feel like been to that part of the world. I maybe have not necessarily actually been there, but that doesn't mean that I can't feel like I have, or I can't like in some way be enriched in that culture. And I think that that's really cool that people are willing to be like, all right, like that's cool what's going on in Appalachia. Like, I want to listen to their music. I want to wear their clothes. I want to like climb the mountains. Because I haven't heard that like the Red River Gorge is the third best like competitive climbing spot in the world or something like that. People fly in from like Australia.
That is a fact.
And I'm like, what? That's crazy.
We were there 2 days ago, and we're sitting there at the Rock House restaurant ordering, food and drinks. And you hear these different languages from behind you, and I'm just like, this is so cool. We're
sitting in Stanton.
We're in Stanton, we're in Eastern Kentucky, deep Eastern Kentucky, and you've got people coming here for our natural resources, and it's awesome because places out west, everyone knows about Colorado, everybody knows about like Yosemite and those places, but it's cool for kind of a local-ish place like Red River Gorge.
This is a secret.
Do what?
This is like a secret.
Yeah, it's like a hidden secret. It's cool. In our misty hills.
And we have a lake, we have rock climbing, we have, my last guest and I were actually talking, we need to drag Triplet Creek literally all the way to the lake and make like a ramp put in to where people, there's so many things that you actually said it's a natural resource, and most oftentimes you could be like, all right, I don't know if you would consider that, but for us it really is. It's a resource that we're able to use for us to build commerce and for us to be able to, we have to be so, with what we were talking about earlier, with the lack of technology, we have to be so adaptive and so like just able to potentially have to be like, all right, like, I don't have a way to get to work. There's not a public form of transportation, so I just gotta grow a farm, or I gotta like grow or do like build Cliffview or whatever.
Yeah.
There's so many things. Like someone was like, what's the assisted climbing thing over there? Like someone was just like, here's this huge mountain, and I could just put like a cool climbing place for people. And it's just
resourceful.
so most people from the city would go and be like, look at this stupid cutout, and then we look at that and we're like, that's a business opportunity. And it's just really cool to see people that have that. We have a very like abstract way of looking at business. We have to find ways.
I think it's special in our area. So many unique businesses. East, outside in the Appalachian region, we could drive to Asheville, that area in East Tennessee, and it's kind of like an abstract form of art or business. It's unique to this area, I think. You know, like you go to Zion National
myself, but there's just like, have you all been in the River Gorge?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Like that area over there, Fayetteville and stuff like that. Why is this area not like that? Like, how have we not found a way to really carve this town out as a safe haven for people that want to come outdoors and have a good time?
Yeah.
But we only have like one hotel, and we don't really have a lot of restaurants. And I'm like, but if we start, maybe not hotels, like, but focus more on restaurants and just enriching this culture in this area. And we have the people the potential. We have the, like, if you come here to Saltstone, there's like local art all over the walls, and it's just like you hear music all the time. It's just like we have all these people who are very artsy and want to show off with the skill, and like you all are doing with your shirt brand. And it's just like with clothing, it really is like an exact like reflection of what the culture is. So it's really cool to see people that were willing to be like, Appalachia's cool. And
yeah, I remember a few years ago when we started this, we did our research, and there weren't hardly any or many brands other than like a gift shop in the Smoky Mountains that were making Appalachian things at all. Yeah. And we said, we want to celebrate this. We want to make our brand for this, a brand that represents this area and how we see it. You know what I mean? And we did that. And I feel like since then, there's been a few more. But I'd like to think we were the first to do that and kind of like claim and say, hey, let's start this combo. Let's get this going, because this is something to be proud of, and people shouldn't be ashamed of being from East Kentucky or Appalachia, West Virginia, and these areas. Like, it's cool, own it.
Yeah, and so when these things happen, that people, it's really. Like when I watch a TV show, for instance, I was watching Shameless the other day, and there was this episode, and this dude was like, I found out I'm adopted, and my family's from Kentucky, and when it showed his family, they were just like the most redneck, hillbilly, they were all wearing like MAGA hats.
It was like maybe.
I was like, what the heck?
Like Josh.
Yeah, that stuff, people have done that for years, like hillbillies from Tennessee, West Kentucky,
But you gotta own it. You gotta.
I'm honestly proud of it. I really am. I love the way that it sounds. When I go to other states or we travel or go places, people are like, man, where are you from with that accent? And I'm like, I'm from East Kentucky, by God.
Yeah.
I like it, and you gotta own it and be proud of it, because it's different.
People are like, man, you're a mountain man, you got the beard, long hair, man. Like, you're not from the city. I'm like, yeah, no shit.
I'm sure a lot of people from our area in East Tennessee, West North Carolina, West Virginia, they hear that too. And there's been several people come out, like Silas House, I think, just come out on Twitter and stuff and said, like, I'm not quoting directly, but like being proud of the way you speak and where you're from, it's something to be proud of.
Yeah, he's doing a good job.
Mm-hmm. And with that in mind, so I talked about it in the intro about how you all have had people represent your all's brand kind of in music, and Channing Tatum's even more. You all's had Tyler Childers has rocked your own stuff, and it's just like how does that influence happen for you all to be able to do that? Talk a little bit about how you all felt when you see someone like that, like, oh my gosh.
Well, it's like, we work really hard to even have a brand and to even have a voice and be able to make the things we do or the things we make. And for guys like, there's Tyler Childers Band and Jesse Wells and the artists, people we look up to, people that we love their music, Nicholas Jamerson is another one, and the Midland guys.
Tyler Booth,
yeah, he's a big one. He's on the come up. For those guys to support what you're doing, it just kind of echoes that message of what we're all about in Appalachia. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a high five for the home team.
And so, are those like people that you all have grown relationships with in some way because of that?
In some sense,
Jared pays them millions to wear.
We pay millions. No, we don't have that kind of money, but to do that, that's what other brands do. But
I think Jared might not say it, but we like to do that stuff, let it happen naturally. We don't force our hand on anybody. Like, yeah, if you like it, cool. If not, that's okay.
Never want to be those guys who are like, hey, please wear this for a photo. No, it's not about that. It's like, hey, if you like what we're about, if you like what we're doing.
Real, authentic engagement is the best, not like fake money.
Yeah, you can't force a jump shot that's contested and get it and have wide open unless you train.
We all three don't have New Frontier hats on. They definitely didn't make me wear this.
It was a stage.
You got 25
I like that one. We don't have that online yet.
I really like the black one too. I probably will get a black one too, honestly.
Yeah, that's like earlier we were talking about technology, like these the hats that me and you have on are like is a really cool new thing for
It
us.
feels really cool. I feel like running these.
They're tech hats,
Yeah.
and it's a kind of a new fabric of material that we're experimenting with. And
How would you describe mine?
yours is just a retro Mountain Dog foam trucker, good old truck stop, and good old
Country.
But yeah, no, I got off topic. But back to the music artists and the influencer thing. We don't like to pay those guys or reach out. It's just we try to let that happen naturally, and give them some of the things we made. And we're working on some big stuff for this winter. We'll try to let that happen naturally. But I hope those guys like it. They also have big followings and big crowds. But it's best to let that stuff happen naturally if you can. Let it be kind of organic in a way.
And so I see you all working on projects all the time, posting your stuff. So I think you all, the road tripping one that you all just posted.
Yeah, we love the idea of doing campaigns, like for the fall coming up, working on a campaign that's, I don't know how big brands do because I've never worked for a big brand or never been a creative director, but putting together a campaign for a season, like last winter, we did like winter sessions, like a cabin feel with a lot of stuff. This summer we tried to go for kind of like not a hippie vibe, but kind of a groovy mountain vibe. We did a road tripping thing because I feel like a lot of people were taking summer road trips, and we just kind of wanted to speak to them, those people that are going out camping. And we worked with a local video guy, Joe Gagliano, was really good, and a local photographer, Zach Hill. Try to keep it all local in our projects, and put out campaigns, that have inspired us. We're not just pulling something out of the air. Whenever we make something, there's a story behind it, and there's a message. And hopefully, as we grow, we've learned it. Hopefully, we can tell better stories as a brand and just get better at that, because I think that's what it's all about. From a design and creative standpoint.
Yeah, and so as a clothing brand, you've obviously drawn influence from like something. What would you all say like is a big influence for you all to be like, this is a great medium for us, and this is actually what we're going to do to get this message out? Because I feel like it's a really good. I honestly wanted to do a t-shirt company myself, and these genius gentlemen started this Appalachian clothing company and beat me to the punch. So I mean, total props. No, totally. Like, and it's just like, so the influence is there, and it's just like, I was aware that the medium was there. So like, I appreciate that someone else was on that same page, because I was just like, we need a way to make Appalachian look cooler. So obviously, you all were like, it's way smarter.
We'd always loved brands and branding, but we never thought, we always loved our street, but we never put two and two together that we should do something here until he graduated high school and I graduated college.
I'm still working on high school.
Yeah. and
I'm getting close.
We might make some simple things now in year 3, but we have a bigger goal in mind, and like we haven't taken outside money or anything. We literally started this with $200 and a laptop. So it's not like we've got investors and people dumping us money to make things. So everything's been organic. We're just an organic garden right now, and we've got some bigger goals ahead of things we'd like to make and projects, and we're inching towards that. But it's been fun. It's been fun, and there's a lot more we want to do with it.
And so, like, with that being said, so you were talking about how the storefront is potentially it's like we're getting big enough to where we might have to expand. So with that being said, do you all have plans potentially, without revealing secrets, do you all ever plan on moving out of Moorhead to put stores other places? Or
Jared's got his eyes on about an acre on Mars.
We've got an acre on Mars we'd like to sell. We have some ideas, but I think we'd always love to have a location here. And there are some bigger things in the works that we'd like to do here in our region, but I'll keep those a secret for now until we can get to it.
John,
Sorry.
we need a few more beers. We need secrets revealed.
But like,
That's my young Jamie.
Yeah. Honestly,
Joe Rogan, that's my Jamie.
Jamie. What was I saying? Shoot.
So you had secrets about your relationship?
No.
Your secret relationship?
But honestly, for the future coming up, you know, with COVID going on, we're really wanting to revamp our online store, really put a lot more guns there online, because, you know, that's where we ship a lot, and it's just like, who knows how long this will be going on. We just want to, you know, take advantage of that online store while it's rolling.
So there's something else I want to really, really talk about. So
Trampolines.
love trampolines. They're also dangerous. I have friends that have broken their butt bones on trampolines.
Oh, crap.
So it's like, you know, but I mean, I also have been like,
My bad, dude. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Trampoline. No, it's just, so with us being from where we're from, it's really cool to see the area really be involved. So like, how much has Morehead been important, like Morehead State in particular, into your all's growth as a brand and just
Yeah.
University.
I mean, we've both gone to Morehead State University. Students come in our shop all the time. You know, alumni have been really supportive, like Amber Philpott at WKYT, all my former basketball teammates that I play with.
Oh yeah. Without Morehead State.
Guys like Josh Teeter, the golfer. You know, I think he's pro. I'm not a big golfer, but I think he is. But the alumni have been super supportive. Guys like you, podcasts, allow us to come speak, and a lot of the channels. It's kind of like a community and a family, and I think in anything it takes a tribe. And I really feel that. Like, if you're a Morehead State alumni, you know, if you've gone somewhere else, sorry I'm not talking about it, but like Morehead State is really, it feels like family, and you come back to homecoming and stuff, and you know everybody, and everybody's pretty supportive for the most part, you know, alumni wise, and people, current students, you know, it's kind of tribe or family, like, you know what I mean?
And something I really, really always like to focus on too is the diversity or not diversity, but the adversity that you've had to face as a company. So times haven't always been good.
Yeah.
And even with what we're going on during Corona, you all have ever really even pitched in to do the campaign that y'all are doing, that the money's going back to.
Man, we gave back so much. It's like,
You know, yeah, so currently, we're probably speaking of
Appalachian Cares, right?
Yeah, we did an Abstrong collection. You know, as soon as COVID hit, you know, obviously it's hard on everybody, and we were looking around, and town was dead, all that sort of dead. Like, well, we can do something for good. We can give back, or we can just sit here. So we picked several charities to give back to, and we just used our tools to give back to other people. You know, we gave back to like
direct relief
to the
Appalachian Regional Healthcare.
Now we're giving back masks to local schools. Don't know if they'll end up going back, but we're making sure they have extra masks in the youth service centers of those schools.
State police, local university police.
And it's trying to help out where we can. You know, during this COVID stuff. It feels good. We're giving back, using our tools, and it's helping other people along the way.
So when you all started, I mentioned in the introduction, and you actually also said you started as a $300 or $200 company.
Yeah.
If that. Yeah.
So I got the receipt. I got the bank receipt. I found it. It was in my bookmark at the book I was reading when we started.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really important that you keep tokens like that from your journey, because I definitely can tell you, like, I've had quite the journey.
Yeah, dude.
Myself. With the tornado that hit West Liberty, which is really, really why, at the end of the day, why I really got into wanting to be connected to my community, was because when that happened, I felt helpless, and I was just like, there's things that I couldn't do, and I was like, I've always really wanted to go into politics, but in the current state of politics, it's just like, nah.
Yeah.
And I was like, what can I do to be influential to my community and have a voice without actually having to be a politician and follow an agenda or follow whatever? It's just like, I want to follow what's good for my people. And so Party foul. Well, I party foul too, literally right here. But
De nada.
Awesome.
thank you.
My man, thank you. Thanks, Doug.
This commercial break brought to you by Salt
Sauce
Stone.
But it's just really important that we are able to, kind of go through that adversity as a community. And it's cool that you all have pitched in to do that. But so talking about like what I was just saying with you all starting as like a really like low cost startup, and something I really, really always like to talk about is just how, with my story, is times are tough. Times can be tough, and you're going to fall down sometimes, and you might weigh 400 pounds one day, and now I'm here, and it's just like, you got to like, there's going to be times I wasn't feeling strong, so that's why I got to that point, but it's just like, I've had a total transformation of physical, but also mental, and it's just like, I really like to talk about struggle. And a lot of people are like, I don't want to talk about bad times and stuff like that, but I really like to focus on that because I want people to be aware that even though I am where I am today, that I did used to be 400 pounds. So do you all care to kind of shed a little light on what you all have had to face as entrepreneurs that necessarily a lot of people maybe don't know about?
Yeah, so can't dive into all the specifics because you don't want to get in trouble again. But early on, we were a different name as a brand. We made our LLC, made a name as a business, and come to find out someone had something similar, and we got into a little trouble. We were not trouble, but just like they got upset, and we had to change our name. And for us, that was a big deal. That was a really big deal. You've been in business for less than 4 months, and you got to change the name of the company you started. We did, and we're New Frontier today. Love that name, love what it means. And I think it was godsend, honestly, because I think the name's a lot deeper than the other one we had. Won't mention.
I feel like there was no way we would move this far with our first.
Yeah,
There's no way.
so it was a big struggle. At first, we hadn't even gotten off the ground, and we already had weights thrown on us. You know what I mean? So people that don't know us and know we've had our fair share of struggles, and there's still more to come. But that's what being, in business or having a vision is all about.
That's being successful. Struggle, that's part of it. There's no success.
Almost like you struggle more than you succeed.
Yeah.
There's going to be times that you go through way more shit in order to get that glorious day. You made it.
Yeah, I mean,
the more you go through it.
And I'm not going to say it's a sad thing, but the thing is, social media, the internet, Facebook, you see a lot of highlight reels all the time. You look at us, New Frontier, obviously we're not always going to share the bad times or like issues.
Because we're about good times.
Yeah.
We're about the good times.
We're about the road tripping right now.
But like, you see people's highlight reels, so it's easy to sit back and compare, trash your life. But everybody has their fair share of hard struggles, but it's those stories that make you as a brand, make you as a person. It makes you callous, like Josh said.
That's like Playboy when they first started. It wasn't Playboy when they kicked it off. Hugh Hefner, it was called like Stag or something.
Yeah.
And their first issue, it was a big time deal. And he got this letter in, he had to change his name, and him and his friend were just sitting there and they're like, hey, your mom works at this car dealership called Playboy. You just want to call the magazine Playboy?
Yeah.
And they changed it.
And
so
even,
I think
and even, like Nike was called Blue Ribbon Sports. What if all of our shoes said Blue Ribbon Sports today?
We probably wouldn't be wearing them.
So it's happened, and when you're in a small town, small community, you're like, oh man, that's wild, they're going to be done, they changed their name. It's not in the big picture, it's not a big deal. Like in the guys here at Saltstone, you're going through a little issue right now.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, they keep their name, awesome. They have to change it, it's fine. Because at the end of the day, it's not about, it's just the name, it's the business. It's the three guys downstairs that are making this beer and making the community and the environment and the culture. That's why we come here.
Yeah.
We don't come here for the name, we come here for those guys. So, whether you have to change something or whatever,
it boils down to one phrase. See if you got it.
Shooters keep shooting. Okay.
I was going to say keep on keeping on.
Just like whether if you're overweight and you lose a bunch of weight, keep on keeping on.
Yeah. And that's why it's just, like you said, there's a highlight film of everybody's life, but if you go back and look at the content I posted, which is the intention, is that I want to show people that truly at the end of the day, there's going to, and where we're from is just a testament to that. Like we're the, like you said earlier, we're the true underdogs. There's so many reasons why we are not supposed to be successful.
Yeah.
And there's so many people who I could be like, I don't know anybody else like that has a story like that is from Appalachia, like that isn't from Appalachia. Like this, it's a pretty like regionally like exclusive thing that like people. So like, me and my mom were talking the other day, and we were like, yeah, so this and this happened. And I was like, so why don't you think most people could, like in a lot of regions, people can get a scholarship for a lot of stuff going on? I'm like, why don't you think we can? I was thinking about it, I was like, that's like everybody's story as well.
Yeah.
Like they could just give everybody in Appalachia a free scholarship and free ride to college. And I was just like, that's so crazy. Like we really do struggle so much as a region, but it makes us so strong, and it gives us these opportunities to make these stories like you all and like the What the Shuck podcast and like Saul Stone, and just there's so many things that we're not supposed to be that we're doing, and it's really cool because we're like I said, we're the underdogs.
I think
we're Steph Curry.
I make this big analogy in time because life will go on, long past whatever. And like in history, like you look at the times of the Dark Ages followed by the Renaissance. During the Dark Ages, it would be easy to look and say, "Hey, this is poverty, bad times, negativity." Similar connotations to what's being said in Appalachia. Yeah, good job. That's the connotation now, but there's something coming. Like there's this renaissance, good ideas, and people aren't looking at the future. So this area will come up.
Yeah, we've been in the gym working our days counting. Basketball records.
Was it with me shooting in the gym?
You weren't with us shooting in the gym. Yeah, to go off on maybe a different path, like in the past, I think you had a lot of people talk about things that are going to happen here and talk about it, but there's people like being about it, doing the work, dirt's being moved, hands are going to work, stuff's happening.
Yeah, and you were talking about the negativity of Appalachia, but I feel like even right now, just the negativity of the country. What kind of art are we going to see in like 2 years that we're like, oh my God.
I just like to know what Chris Stapleton's working on.
Exactly, yeah.
He probably won't hear this, but whatever he's working on in his little Tennessee cabin on his 8,000 acre farm, the album he's writing right now, next year we're going to be jamming to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the art that's being created right now, the people at home making things.
I want to be Nick James' studio hearing what he's doing.
Nick James.
I love this last album.
Yes.
Golden Shores is one of my favorite songs I've heard.
Shout out to Nick Jameson. You probably won't hear this, but
he will. He's been on here before.
I think Nick's one of the best songwriters, not just because I know him, but he
Truly.
tells good stories, man. He goes deep. He throws he throws deep balls. I think.
Leviathan is a crazy song on that last album.
Don't sleep on it.
Featherbed.
I love Featherbed.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that last album. It was really cool to see him go conceptual and have like a whole album that was like all tied together. And it was
just like artists like Nick or Tyler or Chris make like concept albums, or like the Eagles Desperado concept albums. As a brand on a small scale, we like to make concept collections.
Mm-hmm.
We're small, we're getting better at it, but like technology's allowing us to do more and make like collections.
Well, it just shows you it's like a marker of like where our mind is at this time. This is how we're feeling. We can actually express where we are and what we're doing, as opposed to just being like, I'm just gonna have like 8 songs about partying. It's like I want to actually tell a story here, and Nick will actually, he's talked about it on my podcast, and was talking about how he was trying to relay the story of the 7 deadly sins, and if you really go and listen to it, it really is like almost like a Bible story, the whole album. It's really cool to just hear that.
I wish I had the technology or the know-how.
7 or 6?
7.
I don't know.
7 seconds.
But there's so many stories in this area. I just want to grab a good movie maker and make some movies here in Eastern Kentucky and Appalachia.
Mm-hmm.
You can take the songs that Nick Jameson or Tom Childers or somebody, take one of their songs and make a movie out of it. You know what I mean? Like White House Road could be a movie.
Yeah.
Creeker could be a movie. Nick James.
Creeper is my favorite song probably ever.
Featherbed could be a movie.
I always say that Featherbed, someone needs to shoot a video for that one. That is an incredible
I
remember Sunday Best, they put out Southern Boy.
Mhm.
I was in high school and I captured that was like my first
Sunday Best.
So I grew up with Nick and Chris because my cousins played in a church band with them called Crosswalk. So I've known them much of my life. Actually, Chris was roommates with my cousin Jesse in college when they went to Center. And so I'm really close to those two guys. They've both been on the podcast, so like, they will possibly hear it. I don't know. They're probably they're in the dungeon working on some stuff.
They're in the lab right now, making some beats.
The beats lab.
But yeah, man, Sunday Best and Nick and Chris were the first guys to ever show us any attention as a brand or business.
Mm-hmm.
And that was big to us because they are and were our heroes musically. Like
Truly,
Sunday
yeah.
Best, like Josh, you tell the story.
I'll make it quick. I was at Keeneland. We just had like 12 or 24 trucker hats ordered. And
I thought you were going to say beers.
I wish.
12 or 24
had
Bud Lights.
like 300 beers. So we had this trucker hat, and I was like, God, man, I was like fangirl. I was like, this dude never seen Sunday Best. Just freaking out. The whole field, man, it was just full of people. I mean, there were thousands of people there. And I was like, oh shit, might as well do it. Man, I think you might like this trucker hat. So I went behind the stage, nervous as hell, and I said, hey Nick. And he looked over and he walked over, and this was all happening quick. And I said, hey, my brother and I mean, there's no telling what I said. And I was like, hey man, my brother and I we're making this brand. We're from Moorhead, Eastern Kentucky. I think you'd like it. And he said, hell yeah, man, I'll wear it. He took it, and I was like, holy hell. And then I went up and he put it on stage, and I was just like, he did not have to do that. You know what I mean?
Shout out to them because two small guys that just started something, you know, not pot to piss in. They didn't have to give a crap about us.
Yeah,
But they showed us love, they were cool. So shout out to those guys. I mean, it's small moments like that. You never know to somebody what it could mean to them. You know, so they all matter.
That was definitely a pivotal point. I was like,
It gave us confidence to keep going and like, hey, what we're doing is good. They like it. If they like it, we're on the right track.
yeah.
But the thing is like when that opportunity arises for you all to someone be like, oh my God, new frontier. Like, you all might not even realize it because those guys might not realize, like, oh, this dude's like psyching out right now. He's about to meet me.
We
Like,
try to, yeah, but I don't think we're not that big, but like we're real authentic, try to be personable with all our customers and everybody comes in, or if we're at an event or something like that town, you know.
Well, those guys also gave me an opportunity with
Yeah.
my podcast. They came on my podcast, and like I said, I grew up with those guys, but they still totally didn't have to do that. And the fact that they were like, oh yeah, like they didn't even like, it wasn't even a question. It was like 100%, yeah, we'll be on the podcast. And I was like, that.
Yeah.
But that's what we're about in Appalachia. When we see someone that's like, here is a thing that I want to do, and potentially everybody will benefit from it.
Yeah.
So I myself need to be a catalyst at this moment because what I do will allow everyone to be enriched because of it. And so like you said, it's a little thing. He could have totally just been like,
Yep.
I'm gonna wear that, but for your brand,
The
it's obviously
smallest,
so important.
yeah, smallest moments, man.
Oh yeah, watch many small moments.
Get real deep.
So
real deep.
okay, we'll kind of close things out, but I really appreciate you all coming on. But as a brand and as a company, you even said it, so it doesn't matter what your name is. What is the impact that you all hope to leave in Appalachia, and why is it important to you?
It's a great question.
B.O.B.
Like you all die, and in 10 years, someone's like, or 100 years, someone's like, oh, New Frontier.
I would like to think that we open the eyes of not just America, but like the rest of the world, like Appalachia is a new frontier, shine a positive light on this region, and we would like to change it, you know, not just for making cool products, but in the future making sustainable products. Like they made this area cleaner, they made this area healthier through the products they made, you know, good materials, they brought jobs here. a lot of things, but you know, for the most part, I think, man, New Frontier, like they changed. You know, they were the brand of Appalachia in a good way, not just for making cool things, but it was just, you know, in the future, it was a sustainable brand, brought jobs back. You know, be like the Carhartt of Detroit. You know, that's where Carhartt's from. You know, what would you say?
I mean, just simply, just if this was like a book and a chapter, I'd like it. You know, you turn to this chapter in the book and you read how New Frontier helped change the negative connotation into the positive, and like almost like, you know, when you read a significant story in history like the Wright brothers and things like that, I want this to be something big. Somebody reads like, wow, they changed the game for Appalachia.
Change the game, you know, or just.
And if the change the game means like lead a sustainable revolution in Appalachia, you know, Silicon Valley, you know, they can have all that. Let's make a combo back here.
Yeah, there's so much going on out west, and we love out west, but like, I think there's so much potential here, and you know, in other cities in Appalachia, like, not to get off track, but I think like in towns you like Silicon Valley or like Austin, Texas, people say like, oh, that's the hub, like it's a cool tech city, a lot going on. I think in a small way, our town of Moorhead and towns like Asheville could be like, you know, a new up and coming wave. Not just like cool party town, but hey, that's a cool sustainable tech agricultural town in Moorhead. Look what's
I
happening
think
there.
resourceful instead of agricultural.
Resourceful, you know. Then not like a knock to Nashville, like, oh, it's a party town. They're like, oh man, Moorhead, Kentucky's like resourceful. That's like a cool place to be.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's really important for us to make sure that we're writing a story that one day when we open it up or someone else opens it up, that we really made an impact. And right now, hopefully, we're writing like chapter 3.
Yeah.
Like we had there come up, and now we're kind of like getting to where it's like, all right, now it's like almost to blow up.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you want to inspire others to do good. So I mean, that's really the main thing. Somebody else to get like, hey, they did it. I want to do something cool.
Man, yeah, you know, you like to have crazy. This is way off topic, so if you're listening to these crazy, I'm sorry. But like we talked about one day, like what if New Frontier makes like the moon suits or the space suits they wear? You know, why couldn't we do that? What if
I love a part of SpaceX.
You know, what if?
That'd be awesome.
You know, what if it? I mean, companies like App Harvester come down, make thoughts like that real.
Totally, yeah, man.
If they've got Uber investors and everybody out west believing in them and investing in them in this area, like, why couldn't it be someone else next?
The revolution isn't televised, it's on the podcast.
Heck yeah, it's only right here.
Yeah, it's happening right here.
So if that happens one day, if someone comes back, we got to play this clip. Like we talked about it.
We already talked about it.
It was already here.
This is like Ford, but the What the Shuck podcast in Eastern Kentucky.
Before we sign off, can I like, what's a crazy big idea that you have for this area? Like,
All right,
I like to talk about this.
So I was actually wanting to talk to you all about this. So as you all know, obviously I've dealt a lot with obesity. And as a state, this is actually awesome you asked me this. I don't ever get asked questions on podcasts. So
I didn't know if you get mad at me or not.
Let's get reversed.
So I would like to set up a team that would run or bike or something the entire distance of the Mountain Parkway and get a partnership with you all and App Harvest and ARH and have like a few runners, and I think it's like 77 miles, and raise money for obesity in the area or just awareness towards being healthy, because
It's awesome.
we're like 40th, 48th or 50th in almost every critical health criteria.
Dude.
So it's like diabetes, cancer, heart attacks. We're like 48th of
Great.
yeah.
So, dude, that's an awesome idea. Like, you should lead the charge with that. Like,
Well, we're in. These guys got
and
farms.
it's like, it might not be that big, but we're in. Like,
Well, I actually hit you all up a really long time ago, and what I was wanting to do was I was running my first 5K, and I was wanting to kind of like It was literally like 2 years ago. It was
2
like-
years ago, dude, we were,
Oh,
Gosh.
App artists had reached out to us 2 years ago. They're like, hey, will you help us this up? We weren't big enough. We were like, dude, we just kind of said no.
I just wanted to I just wanted to get like a customized T-shirt of like a weird silhouette of my transformation with like a mountain, Appalachian mountain in the background, and have you all like kind of like sponsor me. You know, I got this from App Artist, and it's like to raise money for obesity awareness.
Yeah.
I
I think you need to do that because, like, what if you led the charge and you brought us down to like the 30th as a state?
And that's my goal, man.
It's
It's
like,
like,
so what, you know, it's like,
You made the state healthier because that's a big issue right now.
one of my big influences growing up, it's so weird because like it's obviously not anything that's even a parallel to this, but Jared Lorenzen.
Yeah.
And when he died, I was just like, it was when I was in the middle of my transformation, and it really like, it broke my heart because I was like, dude, I didn't get, like, what if I could have inspired him to be like, oh, if that guy can do that, I can do that. Because he was obviously a little bit larger than I was because he's like 6'3" too, so like,
yeah.
but